What's going on YouTube? Or Storm here, coming at you guys with another video today too. I'll be talking a little bit about Prankids and what you guys can do against the deck. That's going to be the main topic of this video today. But before you move on to, I just want to talk about plans for 2019, because I think it is going to be a big year for us in 2019. I understand, I put you guys through probably inconsistent uploads at best over the year, and crossing my fingers hoping it will be better in 2019. So if you guys are interested in that, or you think I'm too big of a small of a channel to do updates, feel free to click the link down below in the description box, and you can skip to head to the port and stuff. So anyways, the main thing I want to talk about today is one of the biggest projects I've been working on, and I haven't been doing it as much as I probably should have been, but I'm getting there, is History of Pendulums. This has been a really, really important project to me to get right. I've had the thumbnail for months now, but I haven't actually sat down and worked on it, so that's part of the issue. So, but I currently am at about halfway through the script, because it is a 25-page script I'm working on. I'm planning on uploading the unfinished version for you guys to view before I upload the actual version with the edited images, because it's just, with me and a big project like this, my problem isn't so much procrastination, it's the fact I hate the process of actually sitting down and doing the recording everything. But once it's done, once I sit down and do it, it gets done pretty quick. Currently, I'm about halfway through it. Once that's done, the image insertions, because while it is a lot of different images, that actually won't take as long, I think, as actually sitting down and recording the audio portion. So I'm expecting it to be done sometime in January, probably in the middle to late portion of January. I'm expecting it to be done because I'm already pretty close. I would say I'm about 40% done. So I think it's reasonable for me to get that done sometime in January. I'm also planning on since deck profiles, judging from my numbers I'm looking at, tend to be the most viewed content. Well, it is not going to be the only content you get, because I don't want to be deck profile channel. I'm going to be changing it up a little bit. Before each deck profile, I'm going to have a preliminary thing judging it against the decks in the format, because in general, I think even if I'm not playing the better decks in the format, I want to at least have them built, so when you guys if you guys want to try my decks, take them to locals, you guys know what the proper matchups are and what the not so good matchups are. That's my main goal for you guys, and when that format changes, I upload a new deck profile. So that tends to be, I think, a good it's going to be something I'm going to be trying in my Pendulum Edition deck profile. It's going to be going up pretty soon. I'm actually recording it today. So I'm hoping you guys are looking forward to that. And I'm as much as I am, because Pendulum Editions are one of my favorite decks, if not favorite deck ever. So hope you guys will enjoy that. But that's about it for updates. I don't really think there's a whole lot else. I'm going to move on to the topic at hand, which is Prankids. So Prankids took their way all the way to YCS Milan. I know I'm a little bit behind on that. But I wanted to at least take a chance to both watch Prankids in action, which I actually did at locals last week. So I got a chance to actually see the deck, and I've got a pretty good idea what it does now. I remember the winner even said that he wanted to play the deck because he wanted to play it before people know what it did. And I actually think that's a really good strategy for just taking a deck that people don't know what the cards do. While I don't think it's a completely reliable method to win, it is a method you can use to take advantage of the fact your opponent not reading your cards and not knowing what new decks do. I think that is a big factor when you're looking at some of these, looking at Prankids topping. But in terms of what you're going to play against the deck and knowing what to stop, the important thing to know is a fusion and link hybrid type deck. The deck has 4 core main deck monsters that, when they're sent to the graveyard, they have various effects, whether it's to burn you, gain life points, or maybe draw a card in the case of Roxy's. They all have these different effects when they're sent from fusion or link material for a Prankid monster. They can float into another Prankid beside themselves. These effects are once per turn, but they can trick. But that's not really a restriction when you can use them on your opponent's turn with the quick place fusion they have. Prankids on the loose. It is searchable via the link to Doodle, which we're going to talk a lot about Doodle today. The deck has, I believe it's 3 fusions, but the main ones you're going to see summoned are both Rocket and the big fusion, BattleBot, I think it's its name, that can contribute itself to Regeki. Those are the 2 you're really going to see, because Rocket contribute itself to summon 2 Prankids out of the graveyard, so you can recur 2 Prankids and then make a doodle. It's one of the most important cards in the deck. It's definitely a card you want to stop if you can. And as far as link monsters, the deck has 3 link monsters, although 2 are a little bit more important. Doodle is one of the most important because upon being link summoned, it will search you any Prankid spell or trap straight from your deck. The deck has a plethora of really good spells and traps, between a fusion spell, that can be used on the opponent's turn because it's a quick play, a trap that lets you link summon on the opponent's turn, and a field spell that searches out monsters for the archetype, and on top of that, it's got a spell that can recur them to the grave and spawn a Prankid token to get your link monsters out easier. It's a pretty impressive spell and trap lineup, I would say. So obviously, Doodle tends to be the card you want to stop. Bow Wow is also pretty important, although it is the one you're probably maybe playing 1 to 2 of compared to Doodle. It is a one you tribute itself to cycle back 2 Prankids from your graveyard. This is really good with the fusion spell, because if you're missing the fusion materials to be able to make your BattleBot, because I believe it requires the fire, the water, and the there's a fire, water, and a wind one, and that BattleBot requires these. So when you do that, you can actually use that to summon the you can actually use that to fetch back materials, so you can summon your BattleBot on your opponent's turn. Now, and obviously you have the other Link 4, which is basically like a Harpy's Feather Duster. When it tributes itself, it can blow up all your opponent's spells and traps. So one thing you've noticed a lot of Prankid's greatest strength is playing on your turn. That is definitely something. The deck has a lot of cards that allow you to do that, and it has a lot of ways to search out those pieces. So naturally, because of all the searching the deck does, Droll and Lockbird is definitely one of the most effective cards against the deck. Now, it's important to know that if they get their doodle search, they can still somewhat play around Droll. Yes, they need to search, but if you have an early Droll before they get to that doodle, that is going to end their entire turn. That's one of the reasons why a lot of Prankid players are not playing King of the Swamps, because it loses to Droll and Lockbird, and that's a very popular side deck card right now. Because, it hits, the Goki, not the Goki, the Dark Link deck, and some of the danger variants that are running around. So it's definitely a card that I think is very, very effective, and it should be in your side deck, because it just hits so many different matchups for that deck. And the fact that it plays on your opponent's turn, on your turn, means that you by playing smartly, you can actually play around BattleBot's effect to nuke. Because most of the time for example, if I'm playing Invoked against Prankids, this happened when I played online against the deck, when I activated Invocation, he didn't want me to have my Link out, because I had Link Alistair on the board, and I activated Invocation. Well, he doesn't want me to have that Link monster out, because that means I'm going to summon Mechaba, and I'm going to negate his BattleBot and beat over it with Mechaba. So I baited it by activating Invocation, and that forced him to use the Regeki effect of his BattleBot early, which left him with a bunch of Prankids online, which meant instead of making Mechaba, I could banish his fire material from the grave to summon the Fire Fusion Purgatrio and inflict a ton of damage. And that's something you can really take advantage of, is that playing smartly and baiting the effects of the Link 4 and the Link 4 and the big fusion early is typically, and having monsters like, for example, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is a great card to clear boards against Prankids. Cards like Purgatrio, anything that can attack multiple monsters in a turn, is a great way, and do piercing damage, is a great way to clear fields against Prankids. Called by the Grave deserves a mention as well, because there's just so many tribute effects with this deck that you can call by the Grave pretty much all of the effects. BattleBot check, it can snipe them out of the graveyard, so if they have to use the continuous spell and a Prankid in their hand to pull off the doodle summon, you can call by the Grave, so they only don't get that summon from the deck. But the main thing is it's a great card going second, because you can snipe their effects you can snipe the tribute effects to try to clear your field, but it can also be good going first, because it allows you to snipe out their because it allows you to proper timing can allow you to snipe out effects like a rocket, for example, before they make a play. Call by the Grey is probably one of the best cards in the format right now, so if you aren't playing it, definitely needs a space in your deck. Other important notes are hitting is the fact that the deck can chain block means Ash Blossom isn't quite as effective as it could be. So Effect Veiler is actually a very, very solid alternative against the deck, as well as Infinite Impermanences if you do have them. These cards are absolutely great against Prankids because they bypass chain links, so you can stop the Doodle Search. I've found watching people play against Prankids is that is always the card they hit. If you hit their Doodle Search, it can make things incredibly awkward for them to extend and continue plays. So it is definitely one of the better things for you to do is to stop that Doodle Search. Doodle is the most important link for them, so naturally, you know, if you really want to go all out, you can use Ghost Reaper and Winning Trendies on their Doodle. Yes, they can still make Bow Wow, which isn't terrible, but it doesn't do what Doodle does. As far as other hand traps, as I mentioned, Ash Blossom is not as effective as I'd like, but it can hit the field spell at times, and it can snipe a summon out of the deck at the timed correctly. Ghost Bell is amazing against this deck, actually, because there's so many effects that recur things out of the graveyard because Bow Wow loots things from the hand. Rocket tributes itself to add things back to the hand. There's just so many cards that add things back that utilize the graveyard that Ghost Bell hits them very well. Speaking of graveyard, two really great cards against Prankids are both Abyss Dweller and Silent Graveyard, the newly renamed quick play spell. Dweller, we're all familiar with how good Dweller is against graveyard dependent decks. Quick effect, no grave effects for the turn. If you go first and lock them under this and put any kind of other piece on the field, it is going to mean that they really need those grave recursions for basic deck function. Silent Graveyard is also fantastic because it is a quick play spell, so not only can you set it and use it as a spell card, you can use it on your turn so they don't get any of those recursions from the deck. Let's say they activate Prankids on the loose to fuse for BattleBot, but you have a Silent Graveyard in your hand, you slap it on the field, discard a card, all of those float effects they're going to try to activate will not be able to resolve. That is pretty big. Now you have to be careful with this because I believe it does cut off graveyard for both players, but the fact that you're cutting off all of their floating means not only did they not get that BattleBot, but they're not going to be able to float into the Boral Dragons, which are some of the best cards in the format right now. It is definitely a fantastic card. I think in general right now, because there's so many graveyard dependent effects running around. So, well, the way about comes the end of the video, guys. I mean, you guys think of Prankids in the description below. Was it a fluky win? Is it a deck you guys think you need to prepare for? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. It's Warstorm signing out.